Taking you first to Hong Kong, where anti-government protesters have stormed into the Legislative Council building after hours of seemingly taking it over. They have been vandalizing the inside of the building. You're looking now at live pictures here. The protesters are breaching the complex about an hour ago, smashing their way through reinforced glass windows and tearing down metal shutters that were blocking their way. Riot police earlier using pepper spray to try to beat the demonstrators back, but now they seem to have retreated deeper into the building. Going now live to our senior correspondent, Roland Lim. He is outside LegCo in Hong Kong. Roland, some extraordinary pictures that we're seeing live here. The protesters have actually stormed and taken over the building. Now what?
Right. Well, now it seems the protesters have control of the Legislative Council building, and the riot police within the building itself are holed up somewhere. We're not sure whether the police itself will be taking action, will be defending their ground at this stage. But the police force spokesperson has said that the situation around the Legislative Council building has gotten increasingly volatile and dangerous. So they are telling people who may be participating in the protest of the July 1st rally not to come anywhere near the Admiralty region. The game plan for these protesters at this stage is unclear, but the way other past protests and sieges have played out, it may look likely that the police may be taking action in the early hours of the morning when the crowds have dwindled somewhat. But in the past 6 hours that I've been here covering the protests from the start, it does seem that the protesters are well organized and well stocked up for a prolonged siege at the Legislative Council building.
Roland, these scenes are a complete contrast then to the peaceful march by tens of thousands through the city to mark the anniversary of the 1997 handover to China. What's the difference then between sort of that group of peaceful protesters and what we're seeing now?
Right. Well, I guess the biggest difference has to be the level of violence that we've seen with these 20-somethings clad in black, wearing masks, goggles and hats. They confronted police earlier on when they were trying to block the roads that led to the Hong Kong Convention and Exhibition Center. 13 police officers were said to have been taken to hospital, splashed with what was possibly drain cleaner and made their skin red with itchiness. And then later this evening as well, during the sorry, I was just abused by a protester a minute ago. Let me gather my thoughts. Okay, as I was saying, so the police had skirmishes with protesters earlier this morning. The police have exercised maximum tolerance, but it's unlikely that they are going to be taking action soon because of the numbers that are gathered here.
Well, that is the next question, isn't it? The police said they had learned from the last protests and the last rallies what to do. They had plans and preparations in place, and yet they seem to be stepping back or holding back. Is this a strategy, or have they completely lost control?
I wouldn't say that the police have lost control. We have a police force here that's 30,000 strong. 5,000 were deployed during the flag-raising ceremony today, and there are lots more on standby as we speak. But what we are seeing here is a police force that is stinging from the retributions usually when the protesters had seized or at least surrounded police headquarters in the past week alone. And now that they've taken over LegCo, a lot of people are actually asking where are the police as well, because they could have prevented destruction to public property. Again, the police have shown restraint Whether this is a strategy on the part of the police or the administration, which some have speculated is about the protesters themselves, or these hardcore protesters, which some have labeled radicalized, digging themselves into a hole and thereby giving ammunition for members of the public to then decide that they don't agree with the actions taken so far. Well, that remains to be seen.